Between the Slicks, live again here on the Monday Morning Racer platforms. Also want to welcome the Competition Plus audience on the Facebook page and the Drag Racing Connection page on Facebook as well. Thank you to all of you watching, tuning in. Once again, this is the third show this week. Been getting it in content-wise here on Monday Morning Racer. Fourth show this week going live. Had the Competition Plus Power Hour on Tuesday night as well, and been a traveling live studio situation since Tuesday. From Tuesday in Indianapolis, then a show in Kentucky, then a show in Tennessee in Murfreesboro, and now here I am basically on the road in home studio in Manchester, Tennessee. Looking forward to drag racing this weekend, starting off today, rolling into Saturday with eliminations in northern Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama to be exact, at Rocket City Dragway. The Extreme Top Fuel gang is going to be in, and they are going to be rocketing down the drag strip of the Rocket City, propelled by nitromethane. We've got Joey Haas on the line. We'll be chatting with him in just a few moments about Extreme Top Fuel, this event in particular, its importance to Rocket City Dragway there in Huntsville as they begin to revive themselves in the drag racing world and as a drag strip. We're going to be talking about it right here on Between the Slicks. I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. All this is brought to you by McKinney Corp. If you need anything for your fab solution, look at McKinney Corp to solve it. From, obviously, your rails to your floppers and even your door cars and beyond, for machining and industrial solutions, McKinney Corp can handle it. This word, and then on to Mr. Haas.
McKinney Motorsports is your number one source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.
And there is one of the most accomplished drivers I know. A man who can drive anything and usually wins in them, from top fuel to front engine dragsters and floppers, Mr. Haas. You're already down there in Huntsville. How's it looking, man?
Weather looks good. The sun's out. They've got total venue concept guys here. Kurt Johnson's prepping the track, so it looks fast. We've got 8 cars here. Going to put on a show tonight, qualifying.
Well, I'm excited for Rocket City Dragway. They had a Pro Mod event scheduled, and a lot of the Pro Mod racers thought the track was too green with it coming up to speed, and they're getting back online as a facility, and they decided to move on from that. But you all, the Extreme Top Fuel gang, you come in along with some Nostalgia Pro Stockers. It's going to be a good show here on Mother's Day weekend for sure. Let's begin with the show itself. I'm going to bring the flyer up. I've also got another one, but give us the rundown on Extreme Top Fuel and what we can expect tonight and tomorrow into eliminations.
So we've got 8 cars here. We're going to qualify tonight, 2 sessions, and then tomorrow we're either going to chip draw, pair them up somehow, and run them elimination style, 1 versus 8, and so on. We've got our 8 cars here. That's our core, and cars have traveled from Texas and Michigan and Illinois and Wisconsin and Maryland. The car that I drive, Steve McLean and John Mills, come from Maryland with the whole crew, and Huey's here with Dave Belock and the Time Bandit. Julius Hughes coming from Atlanta. So there's 8 of the best cars in the Midwest are going to come here and run an 8th mile deal and put a show on for the fans for a track that hasn't had nitro in a while.
That's right. They have not had nitro in a while, especially in a competitive form, a racing format, not just a show or someone making a test hit. How important do you think this event is for Rocket City Dragway as they begin to get everything underneath them once again as a facility? What is the vibe from ownership and people that are working that track and working this event?
I think they're looking to put a lot of money into this place and get it back to what it used to be. There's a lot of updates that need done, and just time has been the main thing. I think he acquired the track later last year, so there's a lot that he is doing. It's just he just needs more time to get everything ramped back up. But he wants to get cars here and a crowd in here and start the process of what it can be and what it used to be, like when Clay Millican ran here in 2005. So the potential is there, and we got to get it back there. And he had got a hold of Jim Young with us and Extreme Top Fuel, so here we are. We made the deal work, and hopefully they pack the place. And this is as grassroots as it gets here. I've never raced here, and this is the first time I've been here, but this is the home of the million. This is where it all happened with bracket racing, and it's grassroots for sure.
And it's not a bad place to have a drag strip. Huntsville is not the biggest town, obviously, in Alabama, but it's no small town. You're not too far from Birmingham, and you're not too far from a drive from Atlanta and that metropolitan area. It's certainly a market that can tap into other markets such as Chattanooga and even Murfreesboro and Nashville itself. That's just up the road. So it is a place that certainly does need a good drag strip and can serve racers and race fans alike. And definitely am excited to see it, well, rocket on up into a new atmosphere, if you will, in the drag racing world. This segment of the drag racing world, Extreme Top Fuel, Joey, why? Why are y'all still doing it this way? I mean, they're front engine dragsters. Argue it's very outdated technology, and you all are going out there and doing it this way. Why in 2024 does the drag racing world need Extreme Top Fuel the way in which you've got it?
Well, just the way as the name says, I think it's extreme as it gets. I've, like you said earlier, I mean, I've drove a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things I'd like to drive, but on the intense factor, these cars are close to the top. It's modern technology. I mean, they call them nostalgia front engine dragsters, but there's not a whole lot of nostalgia about it. So we try to stick to the Extreme Top Fuel name. That's superchargers like they didn't have back then, and all their modern technology. We're just leaving the motor in the front like they used to be, and leaving it as they were essentially. But it's extreme, and that's what people look at, just kind of like an extreme pro mod or outlaw pro mod or outlaw funny car, somewhere where we can run them how we want. It's a tight knit group, like I said, this is our core 8 cars that we've got that show up here and can run. So it's definitely the edge of your seat racing.
Clue us in, where does Extreme Top Fuel fall in the parameters of, let's say, Heritage Series, a Heritage Series legal car, or, a car that might show up at Nitro Chaos? I think of right now the Ferrises. They've got that hot rod they're putting together that's a front engine car, and it's got a similar setup to what they got in the Altered, from what I understand, and they're going to go take that out and run it. So where does Extreme Top Fuel fall in the plane of like those two segments within the front engine drag racing world?
We run all the same rules, you could call it, as a Heritage Series. There's a couple things that we actually run bonus to the rule package that Jim Young has implemented. He's the man in charge and the guy that put it all together. But we run a spec tire, we run a spec fuel pump. There's a few outlaw cars, that may run a bigger tire or a bigger fuel pump or a bigger supercharger. We still run a 671 supercharger. There's a few limits to it. The fuel pump is the main thing. So we can't feed a lot of fuel into it. A lot of the outlaw cars can run 40, 50, 60-gallon pumps, and we don't. You're limited to a single magneto and a spec tire, so the back tire can only be so wide. And a lot of the outlaw cars, it's outlaw. They can do what they want, and that's cool too. I mean, I like everything. We run our own outlaw nitro funny car, so everything's got its place. And just like the chaos stuff, I love that, and then the Extreme Top Fuel stuff, I love this, and it's kind of a deal that we can go out and do on our own. Dealing with other organizations can be tricky, so we try to do our deal on our own and can run where we want to and can do what we want, kind of in an outlaw sense, but with a set of rules. So we want to run as fast as we can against a set of rules. There's cars that want to do that and cars and teams that don't want to do that. So That's the great thing about drag racing is you can kind of choose what you want to do on the chaos side of things, on the big show side of things, on the heritage side of things, or the extreme top fuel. So we run it with a pay scale that kind of everybody gets paid, and the pay is decent, and we can afford to do it. And it's a kind of a family atmosphere. We can go to these small tracks and run a few of them a year, and not let the car sit in the garage and have fun.
I think what you just laid out just speaks volumes to the health of drag racing right now. I would imagine just 10 years ago, if you had a front engine dragster, there really weren't that many places to go race except possibly, well, the
The
Heritage
heritage,
Series, or
yeah,
you're booking match races and trying to pair yourself up with someone, or get a couple of different cars together that are similar. But now you've got the Heritage Series, you've got Chaos, you've got Extreme Top Fuel. It is such a healthy time for the drag racer. And if it's healthy for the drag racer, it's healthy for the drag racing fan to see all this drag racing.
yeah.
What do you think will set this event apart from, let's say, a Heritage Series meet happening at a Bakersfield or a Bowling Green or up there at Firebird in Boise?
I mean, I like this. This is definitely the grassroots. We've got it, like I keep saying, we got a group of cars here that's close to each other that we all are friends with, and everything just jives with this group. Jim Young put it all together a few years ago, and it helps us get into the small tracks, and um, we can just kind of do what we want in a sense. We pair each other up in our qualifiers. We take the average time, so it makes the cars try to run as consistent as we can. So we got two qualifiers tonight. Those will be average times. So your qualifying position is average. That's something we do in this group. It's different. A lot of people like it. Some people don't like it, but it makes you run your car twice as consistent as can be. So you can have somebody like Jimmy. I mean, he's the guy to beat. He can go out there run 560s in the quarter mile, but then you get a smaller guy that may not have the budget or quite the caliber of car that he's got, or like us, we run a Chevy. So you average the two. So it really makes you focus on getting the car down the track and putting on a show. No oil on the track and no downtime and just being consistent. And then we roll into race day and you take your average, and that kind of makes the cars a little closer in a sense. So there's a few things that set us apart. We try to stay fairly close to home and not have those long tows is another thing, which this is a pretty good tow for the guys coming from Maryland, which they got a long tow anyway, or Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois. Julius Hughes is in Atlanta, so he normally has to go north. So this is kind of a hometown deal for them, and it kind of lets us run and pick and choose what we want to do with the Extreme Top Fuel Series. We'll run in Norwalk, Ohio at the end of July, and then we'll be in Martin, Michigan in August. So we can bounce around to the WDRA tracks, IHRA tracks, NHRA tracks, and it kind of gives us some flexibility to run these cars when we want, how we want, and having an organization of our sense that Jim has put together, and kind of have some flexibility to it.
Well, that is good that you've got the flexibility, and that is a widespread map on the
Yeah,
events you've got. You're running in the heart of Dixie in Huntsville, Alabama, and then in the heart of the Rust Belt there in Norwalk, as you mentioned, and then to the great far north for sure in Martin, Michigan, and great facilities as well.
yeah.
Certainly Norwalk and Martin, Michigan, some of the premier facilities, and as you said, Rocket City wanting to become just that within Alabama and in the South. So that is a good platform, a good schedule, some good places to go for Extreme Top Fuel. You mentioned the Chevy, and you got guys out there running the Hemis. How are and why are the Chevy engines at a disadvantage? I think of like Jim Booker. He's had the fastest Chevy on Nitro. That car of Mike Booker, Jim being his dad, that's down there in the Garlett's Museum and the Drag Racing Hall of Fame, and was runner up at a Gator Nationals once. That obviously is a famous car. But why is it notorious that? And what's the reasoning behind the Chevys having a disadvantage out there?
Well, when you look at the sense of the mechanics of the engine, the cylinder head's kind of what limits you as far as just kind of staying together and not burning itself up. It's hard to balance a Chevy just the way they work, and there's a lot more to it that's over my head. But they're at a little disadvantage. It's hard to beat the Hemi guys, and the readily available parts of the Hemi is just the way to go. If you can get something that's easy to get, parts in a hurry, the Chevy stuff's kind of a one-off. But you get guys that are kind of stuck in their own way, and that's kind of the sense here. It's we want to run as fast as we can with a Chevy, and that's what we want to do, and that's you know kind of the greats of living in this country. So we can kind of do what we want with the Chevy, and so we still have the same rules that the Hemi's got, and our weight goes by cubic inch. So it kind of evens the playing field in a sense. I went 582 in this car last year in Martin, Michigan, and it's legal trim. So it can be competitive. You got to stand on it. You got to have some parts, and it's a little harder to work on as far as the Hemi is taken apart. But the guys that have done it forever are the guys that's going to continue to do it forever. They're kind of the makers of the sport in my eyes. Like you said with Booker, Steve, who campaigns this car, and John Mills owns it. Steve worked for Booker for a while, so maybe that's why he's stuck in the Chevy ways. But we're still working on this combination. You change one thing, it changes four, and you kind of chase it. But running this deal 8th mile down here in Huntsville gives us some laps on the car. It's the beginning of the year, and it puts me back in a dragster, which is a change coming from a funny car, just running Nitro Chaos a few weeks ago. But hopefully I'll do good on my end of things, and I think it'll be a good event. But I think the Hemi versus Chevy thing, you can't beat the Chevy sound. So those guys can have their Hemis and stuff, but when you put this thing on 95 or 97% nitro, it's the best sounding one on the property.
They definitely do sound different. I think of Ray Stringer
That's
I'm
right. Ray's
familiar
got a
with
good
him with
car.
Chaos. He's got a Chevy, and
Yeah.
I would even argue that Anthony Whitfield with his small
Yeah.
block Chevy combination, it's got a different sound, a different pop, and
Yeah.
you can definitely tell the tone. And man, someone's got to get crazy enough to do a Ford out there
Yeah.
on Nitro. Come
It's
on,
it's
somebody.
Drew Austin's got one in a
Right?
funny car, I believe, out west. But just the parts, like I said, I mean the Chevy versus the Hemi, it's tough, and sometimes it takes deep pockets to get those parts. I mean, getting one of these Chevy blocks is hard, and you just got to have people to repair them, whether it's the Alan Johnson hedge or whatever combination people run. You got to be able to get parts, and you hope to not tear anything up, but it's going to come. So. Just got to be able to have access to it at some point.
Right. It's drag racing, and then on top nitromethane. That tends
That's right.
to find the weakest link somewhere throughout any combination. Speaking of combination, as we opened up the show, I was clear that you have driven, it seems like, just about everything out there in the drag racing world, from NHRA Top Fuel going to a final round there at the Mile High Nationals 3-4 years ago now, and you've won at the Nitro Chaos level, and you've won in front engine dragsters. You said recently Nitro Chaos there for the Funny Car Chaos Classic at the Texas Motorplex. What is the difference between driving a flopper and a front engine dragster? The engine's out there in front of you in both cases, but how does it feel different in the driver's compartment composed to being under glass and out in the open air?
When the light turns green and you start to drive it, I feel like just natural takes over, instincts take over. But it's the process of doing your burnout and backing up and staging, and the levers being in different positions. And in this front engine dragster, you can't back up fast. It's a bunch of small things that all add up. But when the light turns green, it's too late to think about anything, and you're just hitting the gas and pointing in the right direction. But the way it handles is definitely different. The funny car is a lot heavier on the front end. It takes a lot more arm strength, you could say. The front engine dragster is more of a finesse. You've got the engine in front of you. You're sitting lower in the car. You can't see as much, especially at night, with the fire's up in your face, and it's taking a lot of your peripheral away. And then when the flames go out, you're sitting there looking like this, and your flames are up, and you're looking through that tunnel of fire. And then when you lift off the gas and the flames go away, it's like taking a flashlight out of your eyes, and your eyes are black, and you're thinking, where am I at? And then everything kind of starts to come back. And in a funny car, it's definitely quieter in a funny car, because you've got the firewall and you've got the body going around it, and our car's got a little modern body on it, so you've got side windows and stuff like that. And in this car, it is in your face. I mean, you can feel the heat coming from the exhaust pipes, and if you're backing up from the burnout, though, you got a crosswind or the wind's blowing in your face, and you can really it can get to you. And if anything goes wrong, it's in your face. The Big Show Top Fuel car that I drove with Terry Totten's, you got the speed, so nothing beats the speed of 300 miles an hour, but you've got a clear view in front of you. You can see everything going on. There's really not many obstructions. The engine's behind you as far as the danger factor, but yet you're still going 300 miles an hour. So I look at it as a sense of, you've got a filing cabinet with different folders in there, and you've got these different cars labeled as different folders. And if this weekend I'm going to Alabama to drive front engine top fuel, I grab that folder and I try to remember what to do and do it to do the best I can. And uh, just do it as safe as you can. And it's definitely intense. These cars here are on the edge for sure.
You know, you throw out there toward the end the safety factor of it, and no matter what race car you step in, they all have their dangers. Even if you're in some Crown Vic going on an oval track to Top Fuel dragster at 330 miles per hour, what are some of the particulars when you get into a funny car compared to a front engine dragster that safety wise you're thinking about? Yeah, motor's still in front of you no matter, but with a funny car, I would imagine you're kind of concerned about the situation of being underneath the body and being engulfed in flames. And I imagine with a front engine dragster, it's literally shrapnel or hot oil coming back on you. I think of Dave Commel. He got this great shot
Yeah.
from Bakersfield a couple of years ago. I can't remember the driver, but you got, it's clearly like Lucas oil on this guy. He can't even see, but yet he's like happened to be looking right in the camera, just all plastered with oil going through the shutdown area.
Yeah, with these cars, you carry a spare visor in your helmet bag because you're going to need it eventually. So you try to keep everything off of you. You can kind of see what's going on with the pipes. If it starts to hurt itself, you can kind of see some death smoke kind of coming sometimes. If you can focus on that, which you can't look, you can just use your peripheral. But then you know if it's the final round somewhere and you're in it to win it, you're going to try to leg it on through. But you try to keep the engine as safe as we can. That's a thing about the extreme top fuel deal. We try not to kill parts. We try not to hurt it. Everybody wants to run fast, but let's keep it within budget. Catastrophic things can happen anyway, but if everybody looks out for themselves and we try to keep those things from happening, we're here to put on a show. We're not here to tear everything up. We want everybody to go home in one piece and keep the track happy. Try to keep no downtime. I mean, like I said, things are going to happen. It's race cars, right? You put nitro in it, so we try to be as safe as we can. The funny car sense, same way. You've got the body around you. You think it's some protection, but just like you see on the big show, sometimes a body is a problem. If it stays on the engine, or if it stays on the injector, if it blocks your vision or gets in the tire, there's definitely safety factors involved with it. It's not like a modern rear engine dragster, and that's why they done it, for the safety factor, to get that stuff behind you. So we do it as safe as we can. It's inevitable that things can and will possibly happen, but we try to do it as safe as we can and do it effectively.
As safe while having fun and going fast.
That's right.
And looking cool. I will say, I don't look. I love modern top fuel, and it is spectacular. You've got Mike Salinas doing 300 miles per hour in the eighth last year at the Carolina Nationals. Man, that's cool. You have Bob Tasca doing 340 plus down there at Bradenton earlier this year. That's cool. But front engine dragsters, I don't care if they're slow. And I'm not saying what you all have are slow. They just look cool.
Yeah.
Motor out in front, all exposed. It's to me, it is the furthest evolution of what hot rodding was back in the day. Because it's as stripped down as you can get and still motor out in front and doing the drag racing thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's neat. It's neat to come to a track like this that's grassroots, has been here since 61, I think, and to be able to bring these cars back here, because this is kind of where, things all start, things take place. I mean, I know it was big on the West Coast to start with, but it's neat to see the evolution of the drag racing and to get to be able to see the type of cars you don't want. One class of cars, how boring would that be, right? So everybody's got their thing. I mean, I'm not a big pro mod guy, but I think they're freaking awesome, and those things are wicked fast. So if we can send a couple cars here 200 miles an hour to the eighth or something, if the place is packed, it's not going to get any better. So I like to see a variety. If it's fast and it looks good, I don't care what it is. So that's kind of how we want to treat the fans too. So if you've got a track somewhere and you want some nitro or you want some pro mods or you want jet cars, give people a variety, and that's what the entertainment factor is all about.
No, I agree. And there's so much that is entertaining out there. I think of Nelson Hoyas. He did a good job. The divisional and regional that kicked off the year for NHRA drag racing for the alcohol cars there at No Problem Raceway. He had the alcohol cars there, top alcohol funny car, top alcohol dragster, and you had the regular division cars, I'll put it that way, such as Superstock and Competition Eliminator. But he also had the import guys in with the turbo rotaries. I mean, those guys are wild, and they put
That's
on a good
popular
show.
there. Yeah, I mean those guys are getting real popular. All the Street Outlaw stuff, No Prep King stuff. I mean, everybody's got their thing, and you kind of got to change with times because me being younger generation, I'm 32 now, but when I was doing the nitro stuff in my early 20s, you think about, well, not a lot of my friends want to do this. They might want to do the import stuff or street tire stuff, the X275 stuff. I mean, the radio stuff, all that stuff is huge, but let's get two of these cars, two of those cars, four of those cars, and pile it all together so everybody gets to see everything. So that way they can open their eyes to something that is new, whether it's the nostalgia guys opening their eyes to something new or the new guys opening their eyes to the nitro side of things. Because once you see or feel one of these cars, whether it's a chaos race or extreme top fuel, it it changes a lot of people's minds. Like, man, those X275 cars are fast, but look
Right.
at the feel and the noise and the smell of these cars. It's just unmatched. Then you go to a big show race and you get the speed, and it opens their eyes to a lot. So I definitely like the variety.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that's also one of the reasons why this weekend, this program is going to be so good for Rocket City Dragway. You've got the front engine dragsters of Extreme Top Fuel. You've got Nostalgia Pro Stock there. Nostalgia Pro Stock, I mean, everybody talks about modern day Pro Stock. And one thing, the issue that they have with modern day Pro Stock, though they are the fastest they've ever been, the quickest they've ever been, is there's not that OEM awareness. They
Yeah.
all look the same. But Nostalgia Pro Stock, going back to yesteryear when cars looked like the car they were supposed to look like, we're going to get that this weekend as well. So it's going to be a good program. Give us the rundown again tonight, tomorrow, the program, when people should arrive, and when they are going to be able to get that first dose of nitro during warm-ups before you all hit the track.
So we're probably going to start the cars here this evening, 4 o'clock or so. I think qualifying set to go 6 o'clock, a little after 6, and then another session right after that, 8:30 or so. I think there's an added altered here. Paul Miller's altered, and then I think there's a nostalgia funny car here also. So we've got a lineup of nitro cars coming back here to Huntsville, and tomorrow we're gonna start the cars together at about 4:30. So look at Rocket City Dragway. They've got some flyers made. I've made some flyers, posted them around with some times on it and stuff. If people's coming this way, I'd be here by 3 o'clock. And I don't think it's supposed to go too late into the night. I don't know if they've got a curfew here or not, but I think we'll probably try to be wrapped up and done by 10 or so. So it's looking to be an evening show. The weather looks awesome. I think it's 72 or 73 today and 75 tomorrow and sunny and not real humid. And they've got the Total Venue Concept guys here prepping the track now and dragging it. They scraped it all last night. So I think they're going to have the surface where it needs to be. And if we can make these things go down the track and light the sky up, I think it's going to be a good event. So hopefully everybody comes out, supports it. And that's the main thing, is just getting to the track and supporting it. There's a variety of cars here. I think they've added a 32 car shootout for some bracket stuff to get some more cars in here. And I think they just kind of asked on Facebook who wants in, and everybody signed up online. And I think they filled the 32 cars within a few hours. So I think there's going to be some pretty fast bracket stuff too. So we'll see how these front engine top fuel cars go and see who can grab the top spot and the bragging rights mainly.
Looking forward to it, Joey. I will be down later today and we'll be in the house tomorrow. We'll be providing coverage and see eliminations on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel sometime next week after the show is completed. So you all make sure to put on a good show because you get on camera by winning or doing something spectacular. Either way, figure it out.
we're gonna have the flames up regardless.
All right. Well, Joey, we look forward to seeing you, folks. Make sure you're following Extreme Top Fuel on Facebook as well as Rocket City Dragway. Mr. Haas, have yourself a good rest of the day. We will see you later.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and after the break, we're going to dive back into some drag racing news, just recap some things from shows earlier of what you can see on Monday Morning Racer and what's happening in the world of drag racing very quickly as we have a briefer show here this morning, Friday morning, as we look forward to drag racing at Rocket City Dragway with Extreme Top Fuel. This word now from Destroyer 1320.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Once again, Extreme Top Fuel is at Rocket City Dragway, and you are going to be able to see them tonight and tomorrow, 8-car field. And as Joey mentioned, there is more in the house. Nostalgia Funny Car is in the house, along with a Fuel Altered. You got Nostalgia Pro Stock and drag racing program as far as the bracket series there at Rocket City Dragway. Going to be a good time there in northern Alabama. As far as content on Monday Morning Racer, been a busy week. You can see the action from the Southeast Gassers Association, the A-Gas category, the race that just wrapped up this past weekend at Kill Care Raceway. You can see from the beginning of round one all the way to the final round and what an action-packed show it was up there at Kill Care Raceway. Shout out to Kill Care once again. They put in a lot of work to get that show in. There was a heavy downpour in the middle of the day right during round one, and they got out there. They worked their butts off to get the show in. Thank you, Kill Care Raceway, for all your hard work. The shows this week, there's been many of them, and glad to go live so many times this week right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform, as well as the Competition Plus Facebook page and the Drag Racing Connection page. Make sure to like and follow all of those pages. We spoke with Maddie Gordon, the youngest winner in Top Alcohol Funny Car this year, the newest winner in Top Alcohol Funny Car, period, and also the lady driving the defending world champion Hot Rod. Her dad was in it last year, Doug Gordon. She's already showcasing that she is a natural behind the wheel. We chatted with her about the win and that learning curve in Top Alcohol Funny Car in the NHRA. Yesterday, we spoke with Quayne Stott. He is the winner of the A-Gas category from the Kill Care race there with Southeast Gassers Association in Ohio. Had a great chat with him. A lot of chatter and smack talk back and forth with Leslie Horn, a fellow competitor in A-Gas, and others. You definitely don't want to miss out on that. You can catch the replay on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. There is drag racing happening elsewhere this weekend. You have at Cecil County Dragway a Pro Mod Invitational, $50,000 on the line to win for the winner. But also, they have NHRA divisional and regional action taking place. Top Alcohol Funny Cars and Top Alcohol Dragsters are on the scene, as well as other NHRA competitors this weekend. Drag racing is at full song for sure, well in here to the year of 2024. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Make sure, if you are not subscribed to the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, when we wrap up the show here, go over to YouTube, search Monday Morning Racer, and hit the subscribe button and hit that bell as well so that you can be notified for the content releases, such as Between the Slicks, plenty of drag racing as the Southeast Gassers Association, NHRA Top Alcohol action, and more, plus even the event upcoming from Rocket City Dragway with this Extreme Top Fuel gang. And occasionally, you'll find other content from other areas in the world of motorsports, such as dirt track racing, asphalt oval racing, a shop tour or two, and beyond. Make sure to subscribe to the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. Folks, I'm Lee Kraft. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the share button. And to each and every one of you, whatever you enjoy this weekend, get out to your local track, support it, say hello, and love you to mom. And God bless. Keep the pedal to the metal.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.